On this episode, we review our trip to Universal Orlando and Walt Disney World during Christmas. Today is part 2. Today's December 30th, 2022. This is episode 526 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And if you're getting ready to plan that next Disney or Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you.
So we are in part 2 of our 4-day wonderful Disney trip.
Yeah.
We are doing the last 2 days now.
Yeah, so we're going to cover, if you go back and listen to this morning's episode, because we're dropping these two on Friday because this was a crazy busy week once we got back. We covered Thursday at Universal Studios. We covered Friday, the 23rd at Disney. So today we're going to talk Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. One correction, this morning's episode, it was not December 29th. That was my mistake.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday when we recorded.
And that was my daddy's birthday. Happy birthday, my daddy.
And then one other thing I completely forgot is when we were talking about Chronos Club, that first night, I forgot the main protein that they had, which was steak with onions and peppers.
Yes.
And that's where the tiny sandwich was born. Because I was like, man, we got these great little toasted rolls. And I was like, and they've got like steak and peppers and onions. And I've got slices of cheese right here. So I made a tiny steak sandwich.
You did.
And it was incredible.
I did not. I
Following
just ate
days,
the steak.
Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good.
So
yeah, then the following days is when I started to make them with ham and turkey and the fig and all that stuff. So 2 things I wanted to touch base on. But so Christmas Eve, we had plans to go to Epcot. This was the day that originally we were thinking, all right, this will be our Cosmic Rewind day. We bought individual Lightning Lane on the Friday, the day before, but I was, as we said last episode, the girls were like, we will ride it again, even if you have to pay for it. So I was going to get up, going to do my normal, world clock countdown.
Yeah.
It still really is when you hit that refresh button, so if you haven't done the virtual queue yet, the one update that they had made, especially with Cosmic Rewind coming around, was really good, is that you can confirm your party ahead of time.
I like that.
And for us, it's really, really good because of the fact that we have a very large list of family and friends attached to our Disney Experience account.
Yes.
And for example, I think that it might have been that same day or it was another day in the past. Tony, our friend Tony, cast member, was going to be at Epcot with her family.
Right.
And she, because she had a reservation, is auto-selected when we go to confirm party. Well, love Tony to death. And if we had talked prior and she said, yeah, it's just me, you guys want to do Cosmic Rewind, we'd gladly get her a virtual queue. But with her being with her family, if I had snagged one for her thinking I'm being a good friend and trying to get her on, the rest of her family is going to be out of luck because it's going to mess her up when she goes to get it. So it's great that you can go in, and I usually have to unselect some folks that might be in the parks that day as well, and again, unless we've planned ahead of time. So I got our party of 4 ready to go. I go to World Clock, you can just Google it, and I have that up, and at 15 seconds to 7 o'clock, I go back and I start to refresh. And your average refresh takes 2 to 3 seconds, but I want to say now I'm at 99% success rate. The only time I did not secure a virtual queue was when the app errored out when we were at Coronado back with Ashley and Karen, and I was trying to get it for all of us, and we ended up just buying the Lightning Lane. But that literally was a glitch in the app. So knock on wood, so far, this method of World Clock worked very well back for Rise of the Resistance. It's worked very well for Cosmic Rewind. Go ahead and secure that virtual queue. So, as is the norm, when we are staying ever with Chronos Club access, is we head up there for breakfast.
Absolutely.
I guess go over some of the normal breakfast offerings, because I would say, there's breakfast in the morning. Well, they start with coffee service.
Right.
Then breakfast kicks in a little bit later. Then they have afternoon snacks, which we did not partake in this time. But this truly is like a bowl of goldfish, chocolate covered pretzels, cheese, crackers, maybe some meats, but it's not really a meal.
It's just literal snacks.
Yeah. And then, but it's a good break from the day if you want to head back and get something.
Absolutely.
And then they have, their dinner service, which is much more hors d'oeuvres. I would say breakfast is the most complete meal and is 100% a legitimate breakfast. Would you agree with some of the offerings?
Yes, I would 100% agree.
So what did we have this morning? Because we ended up eating there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning before we left. So what were our offerings on this?
And Friday too.
We didn't eat breakfast when we got there. When we first got there on Friday. So we did. So Saturday morning. Right. Do you remember what was on the menu Saturday morning?
Bacon, because sausage was the next day and then bacon was the next day. Yeah. I personally like the sausage better, but don't get me wrong, I do love their Disney bacon.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, eggs and bacon and just your normal fluffy awesome eggs that are they're so good. Love them.
Yeah, super fluffy.
Yep. And then usually they have cereals out and little what are they called? Like they're not the ones that you see at a regular where they're in this whole clear.
Yeah, they're like little individually to-go bowls.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they have pastries, all kinds. They have all kinds, muffins, little loaves, little breads, all kinds of stuff. And your jams, your bagels, and the toaster, and you can do all of this stuff. Cream cheese, all the stuff.
Yeah, and then there's an entire fruit section.
Yep. And then a lot of times with the eggs and bacon, there is sometimes there was the polenta little cakes.
Yeah, those are actually really good. It was like a sweet pepper relish that was on top of them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're little, probably 1-inch cubes of polenta, but very, very delicious.
Then a little small but oatmeal, and then a few fixings to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where you could really sit down and you're getting yourself I don't know. Let's look at, I know there aren't characters roaming around, but this isn't, you're missing your Mickey waffles, unfortunately. And they used to have those when they first opened.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I think I miss for you guys, because I don't tend to eat Mickey waffles much,
I would eat them.
You and the girls. But I mean, you're talking about loading up a plate with bacon, eggs, toast or a bagel, getting a big cup of fruit. Maybe you want to go off and make your little oatmeal bar, and that's got raisins and brown sugar and stuff like that can go in it. So this is a full meal. Also, you're going to have cranberry and orange juices are out. There's always a fridge up there that all day is filled with individual packages of grapes, apple slices, sweet teas, unsweetened teas. They've got sodas, milk, juices, all kinds of stuff. In the afternoon, evening, they will load that with beer, and they will put wine out. If you would like to partake in any sort of liquor, drinks, or cocktails, you just ask one of the wonderful cast members, and they can pretty much make you whatever you want. They have this amazing coffee machine.
Oh, I love it. Just
does
touch a button.
Lattes, cappuccinos, Americanos, both caffeinated and decaf.
Right.
So your go-to was, you would usually get the cappuccino, correct?
Yeah, because anywhere you get it, if you go to Starbucks or Dunkin', they're always less calories.
Yeah.
So I always usually pick that. And one of the mornings I went ahead and got another one just because it was so good. And the cappuccinos are also a lot less coffee, basically.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I always go for the decaf latte. And it's so super good. And it's cool because, the machine makes it right in front of you. You see the milk go in and then the coffee super and whatever else. And
I want one of those machines.
I know. I really want to look up how much they are. And what's great is they have 2 of them. So you're almost never waiting.
Yep.
They have, if you like to sweeten yours up a little, they have Mickey head sugar cubes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which are awesome.
Yep.
This also has a hot water feature, and there is a whole thing of Twinings tea, and you can do hot cocoa. I actually did a tea the one day. I made it for Kaylin, which was super good.
Yep.
And it's just breakfast time here is the absolute best. It is such a good way to start the day.
It really is, because even in the end for a dinner, it's not as, to me, complete as a breakfast.
Right.
So
unless they have now, again, when we talk back about dinner, you could make yourself a really good plate of pasta with meat sauce, or when they have the meatballs out.
Oh, yeah.
Or you'd have to grab 5 or 6 pieces of the fish, or you know what I mean? Like, so, but I do think this is a complete meal. Again, we like to usually ask the cast member in the morning, could we get ourselves a little shot of Bailey's? Add that to the coffee if you would like. And this is also where usually they will offer, would you like a mimosa? Mm-hmm. And what is wonderful is that you can get them of all styles, including a Pog mimosa.
Yep.
Or Lacey the one morning got straight up Pog juice.
Yep.
You can get a Mickey Mosa that they'll make for the kids, and they're going to put little lemon mouse ears on it. Yeah. Like, it's just absolutely wonderful up there. And if you are the type that can wake up and have a relaxing morning at the resort, and you're not looking to rope drop, you're not running gun into the parks, it'd be hard pressed to find a better place to spend it as far as the relaxation goes. Mm-hmm. And what is wonderful, and we did this last time when we were there with Karen and Ashley, is that at 10 o'clock when the breakfast service shuts down, everybody leaves, but you don't have to. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't going to the parks that day, or you're not going till later or something, like we sat up there that one time till like noon, just kicking back, relaxing, chatting. So it really is wonderful up there. But let's move on to our day, because we had Epcot reservations booked, and we went ahead and headed over there. And first headed, so I've heard, and we've heard, the nightmare stories of how crowded it is Christmas, Eve, Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we had this awful storm that hit the entire country. And I really think, I hated seeing it on social media. I saw a lot of people whose complete plans were canceled, who got in later than they wanted to. So that morning of Christmas Eve, it was not crowded whatsoever at Epcot. I mean, usually when you say a ride is a walk-on, that means that, you start in the queue and you go through the queue. And by the time you get to the front, you might wait a minute and then you get on. You think that's a walk-on. We went to Living with the Land. Literally a walk on. We walked in the queue. We didn't even go through the queue. They had it roped where you just went straight to the boat. Yep. And we got on immediately.
Right.
How do you like the Living with the Land overlay? I know we've talked about this in the past.
I love it so much. I love all the plants, and it's so funny because my parents moved to Alabama, and my mommy got a greenhouse. So I love it, and it was just so neat because going through it, I said, well, kind of course, majorly joking, like, well, my mom's greenhouse isn't this big. Yeah. But it's just, I'm excited to see when the house, because they're building a cabin, and when the cabin's built and she actually uses the greenhouse for a greenhouse with all the herbs, and I can't wait to see what she has and what she does. And
well, it's such a smart idea because they're not, we're literally a 1-minute drive to Publix. They're not.
Oh, no.
So when you think about being able to grow, like that really is a time you want to grow your own stuff.
Absolutely. I love it.
Can we make a request that your dad puts like a speaker in there, and then we can, anytime we come to visit, they just put the narration from Living with the Land when we go in to check it out. That'd be that'd be fun. That would be. Yeah, I love this overlay. I love the sand people.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
The Sandmen, I guess we should say, family.
There's
instead
so
of snowmen.
Much throughout too, which really is neat to look at. Like it's not like just it's a little overlay. It's a lot.
Yeah. What I love during the festivals, where if you've never noticed this, they'll label what's being used throughout the festival, and often they'll even say, "Here's the booth. You can go find this, cacao or the papaya or bananas or whatever it may be," and then you can actually go to that booth and be like, "I'm eating what I just saw at Living with the Land."
Yeah.
So
super cool.
So from here, we headed over to Cosmic Rewind. We don't have to spend much more time talking about this, except this was, I believe, around close to our 20th ride for you and I.
Oh my goodness.
And the first time we experienced B mode in the pre-show.
Yeah.
It was super... spoiler alert, if you've not ridden and you don't want things spoiled, because I have had people say that, just hit the 30-second skip button or whatever. Because normally you go into the pre-show, and the first pre-show, and then you go into the transport ship. Right. And
that's where the whole magic happens.
Yeah, because those walls are closed around you. And then everything transports, and it goes pitch black. And next thing you know, the lights come on, and you have been transported into the ship. Giant screens, Terry Crews comes back up. So that didn't happen. When we walked into the second pre-show room, the walls were already up.
Yeah.
Now, all the screens and stuff were off.
Right.
And
it still did the thing.
Yeah, it still did the transport, and the lights still went out, But when the lights came back on, you're still standing in the same room.
Right.
And then the screens came on and it played. Now, for folks that have done it before, we're well aware of what's going on. I was really glad that wasn't the girls' first ride and they got the full experience on the first ride. But we even asked them, we said, if that had been your first ride, would you have known something was off? And they both said, no, we wouldn't.
Yeah.
So what I think is great, whereas when Kylo is in B mode on Rise of Resistance and they literally just put a wall in front of him, you know, when he's wavy, flaily arm guy, like when that's in B mode, it's closed off and it's got that piece that drops down in front of him. And so you see nothing. So I think on Rise, you can go through and go, something's off. Or Na'vi, when the shaman is literally pulled back out of the space, you're kind of like, something's missing. It was really good to see that. I don't think this took away for anybody that was riding it the first time. Yeah. And even better, if they go ride it again, they're just going to walk in and be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then they're going to wait. Where are these walls? Why are these walls here? Like, where did they come from? So I think that would be super cool. We took advantage of the DAS pass and were able to secure a return time to Ratatouille. And girls had not done that since I think the 50th weekend when it opened, right? I believe. Yeah. So that was something they wanted to do. And then what did we do? Because we thought this was the best time.
Well, and we were having family meeting while we were going into Ratatouille, and we were asking the girls what they wanted to do, and you know what Jeremy kind of wanted to do, which he wanted to see the Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade. And it was supposed to be at 3. So they were fine with going over there. And I wanted to get a cinnamon roll because Lacey was a little said literally, if we don't eat a cinnamon roll on Christmas Day, that'll just break my heart. And I thought, oh my goodness, drama much? But anyways, it was super cool. And I wanted to get Gaston specifically for the research of that we have made them before.
They made them last Christmas.
I wanted to try a real Gaston's because I've never had one.
Yeah, surprisingly, we never have.
Right. So we go ahead and from Epcot, hop on the monorail and ride all the way to Magic Kingdom.
Well, to TTC.
And then we went ahead and then took the boat because the monorail line was very long.
Was crazy. Yes. And we walked pretty much right on the boat.
Yes.
Plus, it knocked off that piece of transportation we were talking about last episode. What did we count? 9 pieces of transportation different?
So we rode over there, and Magic Kingdom didn't seem too busy.
I didn't think it was crazy.
So we went straight to go get Gaston because we were getting real close to the parade time. Yeah. So we went over to Gaston's, and praise God, there was not a very long line because Jeremy actually sent me something from Twitter at some point that the line was just
stretching down to Belle's Enchanted Tales.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this. And we had a backup plan. We had already checked Cafe Rick's, and they had the Mickey cinnamon roll, which, again, is not the same. But we knew we had a backup. Her main thing was having a cinnamon roll Christmas morning.
Yeah.
So,
but I wanted Gaston's. So, anyways, we got there, and the line was not even really past the fountain.
Yeah.
It was right there. And then, I just stood in line, and I think it took about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
And then we got Gaston's warm cinnamon roll to go and with extra icing. And it is $6.79, which it is a nice, big, giant roll.
You don't often get to say that something seems well priced. And I'm not going to say at Disney. I'm going to say anywhere. I'm shocked they're still only charging $6.79 for this thing.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, it will feed a family. It is huge.
We almost got 2. And then we were almost going to eat one now, right
you say
then.
We.
Me and Lacey.
I know. I was like, absolutely not. That breaks the tradition.
Yeah,
you don't eat cinnamon rolls on Christmas Eve. You eat them on Christmas Day, Rhonda.
So anyways, we only got one. But she did get the Pluto's that
little dome cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember the price on that.
I don't either, but it was really good.
It was really good. It was like a peanut buttery, and that's why she wanted to get it. She wanted a little something sweet. So we saw it was peanut butter, and Jeremy loves that. So it's like, this will be great for the whole family. And it was like some mousse type, and it was really good. And we ate that at the parade while we got a great spot.
Yeah, we did over in Frontierland, right out in front of Liberty Tree Tavern and Diamond Horseshoe. We were front of line. I mean, right there
rope,
on
right
the
there
rope,
Mm-hmm.
which was wonderful. And we were able to sit for about 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of relax and eat this little Pluto dome cake before it started. How did you enjoy the parade? Because here's what's great is, normally this is the Once Upon a Time Christmas parade that is premiered and is during the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was done earlier in the week, and then they bring the parade and replace Festival of Fantasy, so you don't have to have the hard ticket event, which was great. And that's the reason I really wanted to go over and see it, because we haven't seen this parade in 3 years. Last time we did the Christmas party. So I was super excited to see it. How do you like this parade? How does it compare to some of the others?
I mean, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So I love it. It really made it feel definitely like Christmas Eve and Christmas, time.
It did. Yeah. And absolutely. I love the toy soldiers as they come through, the floats, we're going to end with Santa, and I'm watching it, and the characters are all coming by. Rhonda's wearing her Be Nice to Cast Members sweatshirt, which a few characters pointed out.
Yes.
Which was
that was
very
awesome.
cool.
Minnie did.
Yes, she did.
Particularly.
Yep.
Oh, that was so amazing.
Neat. And then I look over, and the girls are waving at the characters. And like Lacey at one point is kind of dancing and just, I thought they were way beyond that. Like I thought they would, I thought this was more of it's a parade. We like parades, and this is what mom and dad want to do, and we're going to appease them, and this is Christmas, and they want us to get along and all this. But they literally enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And when I saw Kaylin's like Lacey's much more animated and all. And when I saw Kaylin's little hand go up and just start to wave, I about lost it. Like, I mean, I got some of it on video, and I kept trying to snap a photo without them seeing, because then they're going to stop.
Right.
So I'm like holding my camera, like, I got to get a photo of them waving. I got to get something of them waving. And I got it. And it was one of my favorite parts of the trip was seeing that and them just actually loving this parade. It was the absolute best. And the main reason we had to catch it on Christmas Eve, or so I thought, was because it was going to be 3 p.m. Well, on Christmas Day, we had a reservation over at Whispering Canyon at 1:15 p.m. I wasn't sure if we'd go back to Magic. Like, I didn't want to miss it. Turns out on Christmas Day, they ran it at noon and 3 p.m., so we would have been fine. But I'm really glad we went and did it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
This day and kind of spread it out. And for people that don't visit Magic Kingdom a lot anymore, the fact that we were there back-to-back days, I absolutely loved, because, I know we've said, like, we think Hollywood Studios is really the best overall Christmas decor, our holiday decor for the parks, but there's just nothing like walking down Main Street during Christmas time. Yeah. And we got to do that 2 days in a row, which was super duper cool. So we went, one of my other things kind of on my list that I wanted to do was Jingle Cruise. And so we were able to secure a DAS return time for that. And it's wonderful as always. I love Jingle Cruise. I love Jungle Cruise. I love that they do this overlay.
Yeah, it was cute.
So very much.
It's always good. So yeah, it was good.
So after this, our thought was like, all right, we've done 2 parks today. We had no set dining plans for the day. We kind of just thought, well, we knew we were to eat breakfast at the hotel. We were going to go back and do the dinner and the hors d'oeuvres there. So we're like, this day was cold. I mean, it was very, very cold for us.
This was the day then that you were like, I'm done. I'm ready to go back.
This was the day around 4 p.m. after Jingle Cruise. I was like, first of all, I wasn't equipped enough. I don't think I'd put on enough layers. I hadn't brought extra gloves. Lacey at one point was like, you can have my gloves.
Because she was putting her hands inside her sleeves.
Yep. So I was just done. And I think our initial plan anyway, I mean, again, we'd already done Epcot. We'd done Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
We set out, we knew we were coming to Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So we weren't pressed to do additional rides or anything. We're like, you know what? Let's just go have a nice evening at the resort.
A warm evening.
A warm evening at the resort. And I had seen earlier in the day the December 24th activities.
Yes.
So this included everything from a Holiday Bell scavenger hunt. They were doing indoor recreation activities basically from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., including board games, movies, and more fun. They had in the El Centro lobby, they were doing some different holiday activities that you could pay for as far as crafts. They're having make your own ornaments in the lobbies at 3:15, cozy Christmas campfire out by the dig site pool site that night. Letters to Santa we'll talk about in a minute. Movies under the star with Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and Mickey's Christmas Carol. And then a Santa's Coming glow party out on the Grand Destino lawn. This is not going to be exclusive to Coronado Springs. All of the resorts on holidays like this do these types of things. And it's one of those, like, we've really been enjoying the Disney Springs area. People know we love Flamingo Crossing. But if it's a holiday, one of the major holidays, I'm going to say Halloween, Christmas,
Easter,
Thanksgiving, Easter, those 4, and probably July 4th specifically. If you can stay on Disney property at one of their resorts, I highly recommend it, because they're going to have a slew of activities all day long.
Which was sad because we saw it that morning and Lacey really almost wanted to just stay.
I know.
And do this all day. But we were like, no, we've got these plans. So I'm glad that we did go back. I'm glad that you weren't fully prepared for the whole day. And that we did get to come back because she did get to do stuff, which then was better than just staying there all
staying
day.
in the park. No, I agree completely. And so we went back and we, had some dinner in Chronos, and we met the wonderful Piper, who we had not met before, and we would end up talking to and spending a lot of time with her. And so they have some different board games and some cards and stuff you can do up there, and one of them is the fanciest version of Clue I've ever seen. I would venture to say I haven't played Clue in 30 years.
Obviously, because when we played it last night.
Well, when we played it here, we played it completely wrong.
Correct.
And then we bought it from Amazon, and we played it last night, and Rob and Tina schooled us on the proper way to play it. Which made a lot more sense.
It did.
But Lacey went, and she's grabbed it, and she brought it over, and she goes, I'd like to play Clue. And we're like, okay, that sounds great. Like, the 4 of us are going to sit here,
it was amazing,
not stare at our phones, and play Clue. And we did. And it was awesome. And so then I went back and I pulled up my phone and I'd taken a picture of the events, and I was like, Lacey, there's this scavenger hunt. And she's like, I want to go do that. And it's specific for Christmas, but they also have a all the time resort wide scavenger hunt you can pick up. So we went down to Panchitos and we asked the cast member there at the register, we'd like the Christmas scavenger hunt. And he gave that to us. And then you go throughout property and they have these little holiday bells.
Aww,
and each one is decorated with a cutout vinyl character.
Oh.
And so,
I was showering at
it was cool. Yeah. But you came down and joined us for like the last one or two.
Yep. I went down to stand by the fire because I was up in my room, and I looked down and I was like, you know what? I want to stand by a real fire before, because we kept putting on our TVs, the Arendelle fireplace.
Yeah.
And I had to stand by the TV and pretend like, oh, this is nice and warm. But I wanted to stand by a real fire, so I went down there and then found y'all.
Yep.
And then
you helped us finish, I think, the last one or two. And then we walk in through the lobby. Kaylin was still up in the room. I think she might have been showering now at that point. And there is set up a table with this letters to Santa.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about that? Because you wrote a letter to Santa.
It was so cool. Yeah, I did. And Lacey did as well. And we wrote letters, and we go to bed, and the next morning on Christmas Day, we had a letter from Santa.
Yeah, hanging on the
with
door.
2 little candy canes in it, and oh my goodness,
it was super cool.
It was like I read it and almost cried.
One of the things that we did, because I think our fear this whole time was, is this going to feel like Christmas?
Yes.
Because we, for a decade, have had very specific traditions at our home. And there is a feeling you get that says, this is Christmas Eve. This is what Christmas Eve feels like.
Yep.
We're eating dinner. The kids are making reindeer food. They're putting out cookies and milk and all, even at these ages. And so I had brought some lights. And basically in the living room area, there's a TV, and underneath it is like a countertop. And I bought some 3M of those hooks, the ones that won't stick to the wall. Well, I mean, they stick to the wall, but they won't stay on the wall. Does that make sense?
They won't mess it
up. Won't mess up
you
wall.
Don't put holes in the wall.
So I put 4 hooks on the little countertop, and we hung our stockings, and we strung the lights up all around the TV and around the countertop and the legs of it and all. And then we had bought at Hollywood Studios, they have this little fake potted pine tree. That sits maybe a total of a foot tall. We bought that, and I even strung some lights around that and sat it on the countertop. And then we put the Arendelle Fire on Disney Plus on the TV. And Christmas Eve that night, I mean, we got cookies from Chronos Club. We grabbed one of the milks. And we went down, and it was the best. Like, I watched the girls put out, we brought a plate down from Chronos Club. They went and opened the cookies out of the bag and they set them on the plate. And then I'm thinking they're just going to throw a milk carton up there. No, Kaylin and Lacey both, they grab a glass and they open the milk carton and they pour it in there and they set it out.
They also grabbed the apples for the reindeer.
Apples for the reindeer because they didn't have carrots up there. And it was just perfect. And we're just kind of all sitting there. And at that moment, all the lights are off except for this fire on the TV and the lights that we brought. And it did. It was like, this feels like Christmas. Mm-hmm. Did you think so?
Yeah, I think so. It was neat putting the cookies out. And I'm like, wow, this is neat. And yeah, it did. And I, like I said in prior episodes, that I wanted to do everything here, like bake with them and watch movies, and we wrapped gifts and I wanted to do all this stuff and gingerbread houses. Like I wanted to do all this stuff. So if we did get there and I didn't miss out, or I wasn't like, oh man, we didn't do this. So yeah, everything was great. And I felt like everything was fine.
Yeah. And so, we all went to bed. Our stockings were hung by the fake fire with care. Mm-hmm. St. Nicholas was going to come that night. So we had, everything was ready to roll. And so I woke up Christmas morning before everybody else and kind of snuck out a little bit because I wanted to go up and get coffee for you and I.
Yes.
So I went up, I got our coffees. They always have to-go cups as well as real mugs. So you can, even if you're on your way out to a park, you can run up there, grab your latte, cappuccino. So I got those all prepared. And then by the time I came back in, the girls were like waking up.
Yeah, they were.
The morning before, we had to wake them Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Like we at one point were like, all right, we got to get going.
Right.
They were up.
Yep.
So I know they were super excited. And we had already decided this plan, because this is what we would do at home, is that we would open stockings, we would eat breakfast, and then we would open the rest of the gifts. Correct. So that was going to be our plan. So we folded up, because they were on a pull-out couch bed. We folded everything up, so we had area to sit and all that. And we sat and opened our stockings.
Yeah, we did.
And it was great. And then we went for breakfast. How was breakfast Christmas morning? Did it feel right? You had your cinnamon roll?
Yeah. Yeah, so I took it up, and this is super funny, because when I was talking about getting it, first of all, Jeremy said something about like a microwave, and I was like, there is a microwave, and it's actually underneath the coffee makers.
No clue.
Like almost on the ground. Where I'm very short and still had to squat really low.
Yeah, because my initial thought was like, I know she wants this cinnamon roll, but if we buy it a day before, it's going to be a day old and cold. And then you're like, no, there's a microwave. I was like, what? Mm-hmm.
So we got our cinnamon roll and we walked upstairs and put it in the little microwave, warmed it up, and then warmed up the icing, and we all took a few bites, and it was really good. I'm going to go ahead and say, when we made ours, we didn't do the caramel part of it. So there's like a caramely, butterscotchy type of drizzle on it, as well as the icing. Yeah. We just did the icing. It was good. I would like to one day get one that is fresh. Hot, fresh.
Yeah, sit right there and eat it. I agree.
But I personally like it without the caramel.
I agree. Yeah, I like it just with straight
when
icing.
We made it,
but it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, I took a bite.
Lacey
I know you took
it.
A bite. Lacey ate a good portion of it. We had our eggs. That was the morning they have the sausage, which is very, very good. I do agree. I kind of like it better than the bacon. And then, we headed down and we sat and opened all our presents.
We did.
And it was neat because, we've been talking this whole time about this just being the four of us. And, we sat and everybody gathered their gifts in front of us. And it was like, all right, Lacey, you go first. And the three of us were just so in tune and present as we went around and opened gifts individually one by one. Mm-hmm. And we got a couple surprises in there that I don't think the girls were expecting.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kaylin got her Haunted Mansion puzzles, which she was super happy about. We surprised Lacey with tumbling lessons. Mm-hmm. Now that she's doing dance, she wants to be able to do more floor type routine things with dance. And so we surprised her because we got her all signed up to start in the new year. It felt like Christmas, and it was perfect. Yep. Absolutely perfect.
And then we got ready to go over to Magic Kingdom.
I remembered gloves.
Yes, my gloves.
Your gloves. I was wearing white sparkly gloves with a mini bow on the back.
Yep.
And here's the thing that I found out the day before with the cold is I did not have gloves to start, and my hands never recovered. So even once I put gloves on, I now just had cold hands inside warm gloves. Actually having them from the beginning, they did their job and they worked properly.
Good.
So something that I learned. So we got there and we're like, all right, we did the Christmas parade the day before, so we don't have that. I'm like,
we're like, what do y'all want to do?
Do some rides.
Yeah.
One of the major things they want to do was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yep.
So we were able to secure a DAS for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then we headed over to People Mover, right? And rode the People Mover.
We did. And that was super fun. We didn't see Tron running, which was a little sad. But we went through Space Mountain. And I think we were all surprised that they have a Christmas layover during the day and everything.
I don't know how I didn't know that. In fact, if you go back to our Christmas special episode last Friday, we mentioned how easy it would be to throw a couple star showers in Space Mountain and put on a rocking Christmas track.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly feel like an idiot because I had no clue they had already done that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. So we're like, all right, we're going to look at trying to ride that later. Yep. What did we get to do after, which had only opened a day or two before?
Oh, it was super awesome.
5 years in the making.
We went over by Barnstormer and by the Dumbo area and got on the standby for the train, which was super cool because I feel like that's the secret place to go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the train actually was there and we got right on. And it was a full train. And then it was sad because by the time we got up front, and we weren't getting off there. We were going to go ahead and get off on
over in Frontierland.
And I mean, the line was super long. Not many people got off. And I felt bad for the people that were just still on. Like some people got on, but then all these other people were waiting. Yeah. So, but it was so good to be back on the train. I kind of wanted to ride the whole thing, but we were like, well, let's go ahead and like move on. Yep. We got to ride it.
I could ride it all day long.
Yeah, it was cool.
There's all new narration. Mm-hmm. It goes to a new tunnel right by Tron. You get up close and personal to Tron. And it as you go through, like spoiler alert, they're about to tell you like this top secret thing about like Tron and how it operates and all of this. But when you go through the tunnel, there's some static, and then you exit the tunnel. It's like, and that's exactly how it's done. And you miss everything, which is funny.
Super cool.
But yeah, I would say over there by Barnstormer, the new Fantasyland area, is probably the best place to catch it. Then Frontierland, then up at Main Street, because Main Street's usually going to be pretty crazy. Yeah. But God, it felt good to have that thing back.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of people posting on Twitter with their kids, and they were like, here was my daughter the last time the railroad was open.
Wow.
Here she is today. Wow. I mean, you think about it. Kaylin was 9.
Mm-hmm. She's
now 14.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's nuts. Lacey was 7 the last time this thing was over. So it was super duper good to be back. So then we went ahead and we,
Lacey wanted
to do
Seven Dwarfs. So we did that.
Which was glad. So that was kind of her little, I want to do that. We did it. Then we're like, all right, we can get a return time for Space Mountain.
Yeah, let's do Space so we can see it.
What did you think of this? Because it's a lot brighter in there.
It was scarier to me. But I think because I could see the turns, I didn't feel as jerked around as much.
Agreed. And it felt even slower than it already is.
Uh-huh. Well, it is the slowest roller coaster.
But it felt even slower than it normally does in the pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest though, I would ride this all the time. I would ride this over the regular Space Mountain any given day.
Yes.
I wish they would change this up. And I know Rock and Roller Coaster is getting a refurb now, and spoiler alert, it's going to be Aerosmith still. It's just going to be a general refurb. I think everybody thinks this is the time they're retheming it.
If they did, what would they retheme it to?
Hey, I've already put out into the universe that they need to bring in Scott Stapp and Creed. And we're absolutely sad. But no, but anyway, like this, the soundtrack was really good to it. The lights were cool. You had red and green flashing lights. It was literally what we said last Friday, and we had no clue they already did that. And so as soon as we went through, I was just like, oh man, I feel like an idiot. Like I put that out into the world that I had this wonderful idea for Space Mountain, and they've already done it. Like I thought that was kind of funny. So we did have our Christmas lunch set at Whispering Canyon over at Wilderness Lodge. What were some of our other options we had thought about though? And then again, this was one we put to a vote, basically a family vote.
Yeah. So some of the other ones were staying in Magic Kingdom, and you were trying to do Liberty Tree or
I had a Diamond Horseshoe secured.
So we asked the girls, of course, and they actually said Whispering Canyon. So
we'd never been to Whispering Canyon.
So,
and if you've listened to us anytime in around the holidays in the past 5 years, nothing beats Wilderness Lodge during the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we got to walk in there on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Amazing. It was beautiful.
I
there was a lot of people though there too.
It was packed in there.
Like we couldn't sit by the fire. Like all those seats looked almost taken basically. But the tree was beautiful and there was a photo pass and we were actually going to go shopping, but our table was actually called very soon. We started to head over to go shopping, but then they were like,
it was like immediately called.
Yeah, your table's ready. So we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, our first time at Whispering Canyon, they do have a special holiday menu. This is priced per person at $45. It is a family style meal. This is what you get. They do not have the regular, several skillet, and this is going to still be in a skillet, but they don't have the regular, several skillets to choose from or entrees or whatever. You get basically appetizer salad and cornbread. You get your main skillet meal. You get desserts. That's for everyone. But you started off with your dirty martini because they do have a full bar available.
Yep.
And then I actually went for a bourbon flight.
Yeah.
So they have this drink menu, and you can get basically you're going to get 3 2-ounce pours of different bourbons, and there's a wheated, a straight, and then a high. And there's 2 for each of those, and you get to basically pick one of those 2 for each. So I went with the Larcini Kentucky Straight, the Angels Envy Kentucky Straight, and then a Woodford Reserve. And it's fun. Joey, our waiter, who was outstanding, he was like, well, which one would you like to pick? I was like, what do you recommend? And he goes, well, I don't drink. And I was like, well, then I'll just pick these. But this is $17.50. It comes out on this awesome wood board.
Yeah.
And then also with a glass of water, so you can kind of cleanse your palate in between each of them. And I just sipped on these the whole time. What I think we missed over at 50's Prime Time with what I'll just call the show, we got it here. And this was busy. This is Christmas Day. Yep. It was busy. They could have easily said, look, we got to get people in and out. We're not going to do the show. We're not going to kind of do this sarcastic, ribbing on people. And they did everything. What did you think of that portion of it? And then we can talk about the food.
It was cool. It was a little sad because Lacey's anxiety was acting up here a little more than normal, and she looked at the food menu, and because there wasn't a choice, she just kind of was like, I don't want this, and she kind of got weird, and I could see her anxiety, and I was like, I'll ask. So we asked, and because she just wanted chicken tenders and French fries. Yeah. And I asked, and Joey, our waiter, was awesome. And he was like, I'll see what I can do. And he almost acted like it wasn't going to be possible. And, I don't know if that was kind of part of the show, but
I think it was.
Came back and was awesome and said, yeah, that's not a problem. So I was grateful and thankful.
He said, I will, however, have to charge you the $45 per person.
Oh, and we were like,
that's perfectly fine. Like, but again, something to note. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to head down to Roaring Fork. They're going to hook you up and it's $12.99. No, it was going to be $45
for chicken tenders and French fries.
And the thing with, with the meal that came, it is not stuff that Lacey would not eat. She thought she was going to have a menu to choose from. I don't think we had told her prior that, hey, there's only one set menu. It's per person. It's family style. This is what it is.
I think we did. I think so. Because I remember because you were talking about skillets. I remember it just, again, unfortunately, sometimes her anxiety can override her medicine. And it happens just very few and far between, thank God.
Oh, it's been a million. I mean, 2 years ago, we couldn't take her to a restaurant.
Right. So this worked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if she would have not been on her medicine, she would have been like, no, I can't. And then she would have I don't feel good. And then we would have I'd have had to take her away or something. But
well, and she was also unaware of the style, again, the show. So, yeah, I mean, Joey came back. Again, he's playing his part perfectly. He has no idea. He thinks this kid just wants to eat chicken tender and fries like every 12-year-old. That's what they want. They don't want a big skillet of this food. That's fine. But he's like, oh, so you're the difficult one. And like said a few things where I don't think you were here. We were telling, I think I was telling Rob and Tina and Cassidy was here about it. And Lacey goes, man, that guy was mean to me. And I was like, Lacey, that's like what they do.
Yeah.
They're supposed to. Like when he walks up, he pretends to sneeze and he just throws the napkins on your table.
That was super cool, though.
That's the type of, and they all land on the table pretty well, like almost in front of us. I don't know how they did it.
I don't either.
Things like that. We said to Lacey, we're like, Lacey, do you want ketchup? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, you better ask for ketchup. And of course, anybody, they yell, we want ketchup. The whole table yells it, and anybody that has ketchup gets up from their table and they run it over to you.
Yep.
Later, we had 6 of them, I think. Later, you and I had to pick him up and follow a guy to his table around the corner and give him all the ketchups.
That was funny.
So again, that's what they do if you're not aware of all that. And so she didn't know they were doing that. He, of course, has no idea she has this anxiety.
Right.
Because I think he even mentioned at one point about her being on her phone.
Well, and that was something where you started to, but I could see where she was right at that edge. And I looked at you and I was like, just let her for a minute. Just let her. And he did. I took a picture because he's like staring over her and like looking and she's just fully into her phone. And it was funny for us. And I could see that she was okay.
Yes.
So I didn't pull him aside and say hey, I'm sorry.
It went absolutely perfect.
It did.
And I absolutely loved it. Yeah, she did. Well, she ate a little bit. But she ended up finishing everything over the course of 2 days.
We took it home. Yeah, and it was great.
It was perfect. So they first bring out cornbread, which Kaylin is super excited about because that kid will eat loaves of cornbread.
Yes.
And then they bring out this salad. If there's a family style or an all you care to enjoy, I'm not the type to usually want to partake in like a salad.
Yeah.
But this had like a berry vinaigrette. It was super refreshing and light and absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
Like I have to go back and look at their regular menu. If they had this salad on the menu with grilled chicken on top, that'd be like a go-to, to be honest.
Yeah, it was good.
So then they bring the skillet and this is filled with turkey, ham, sausage, mashed potatoes and gravy, dressing, and corn. Mm-hmm. I got to know what they're doing to corn.
It was like in this one, it was almost like
it's like they cooked it in milk.
Yeah, it was in this milky but it was like literally like it looked like canned corn.
I know, and it was so
But it was so good.
What did you think of everything else?
Oh, it was fantastic. The turkey was great. I ate a couple of pieces of sausage. The mashed potatoes. Oh,
outstanding.
So good.
Yeah. And the dressing was really, really good.
Yes. Yep.
Well, I don't know if it was dressing or stuffing. We got to be careful if our friend Justin Monorail is listening. He has very hard stance on dressing and stuffing.
I'm sure it was dressing.
Yes, I believe it was dressing. It was not. I don't believe it was stuffed inside of anything.
Nope.
Yeah, turkey was super tender. Ham was good. Everything was kind of thin, sliced a little bit, which I think helped make it so much more tender. I absolutely loved this.
I'm surprised we didn't ask for more.
Oh, it had green beans as well, didn't it? Or am I thinking back to Garden Grill? I'd have to go back and look. Here's
it wasn't nothing green.
Okay, and then they come out and they bring you these little like dessert tarts.
Yeah,
and I think it was like a peanut butter one, like a fudge, and they were super good. It
was all like it was I think gingerbread and pepper, like it was all Christmas
style. Here's what's crazy to me, and I'm so glad we've done these. I will admit fully when I'm wrong. For years, I've looked at the menus of Garden Grill, 50s Primetime, in Whispering Canyon, and for whatever reason I've looked at those menus and it's never made me want to go there. We've done all 3 of those now in the past month, and all 3 were absolutely terrific. And I would like to return to all 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, really, like again, I just for whatever reason I remember looking at these menus just being like a skillet full of meat and like some veggies and stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't really get me excited.
Yeah.
Like, meatloaf and fried chicken. Okay, anybody can do that. Like, and all 3 of these places have been outstanding. I really want to go back for Whispering Canyon breakfast, and I really want to go for the regular lunch or dinner where you can either order one of these other skillets or you can, order off their regular menu.
Okay.
And then follow it up with either lead it off with the Territory Lounge drink and appetizer, or follow up that meal with after dinner drinks at Territory Lounge, because I want to get back there as well.
Okay.
So from here, we had another family meeting because the original thought was that we were going to hop over to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And we kind of
the main reason we were doing that was they wanted to go ahead and ride flight.
Yep.
Well, we looked at an DAS return time, and at this point, I think it was supposed to be like 5 something, and we're at like 3 something. So it was over an hour or so.
Yeah, it was two or more hours, I think,
which
away.
was fine. But again, it was cold, and we were more prepared where we each had hats on, we each had layers, everybody had gloves. Yeah. And the girls were kind of like, I'm good to go back. Yeah. I don't want to wait that 2 hours. And we were like, okay, let's go back.
Yeah. So the best bet at that point was to catch an Uber. You all looked at me and were like, don't get a minivan.
Oh, yeah.
Don't spend the money. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm getting an Uber.
Yep.
So that, and that's going to be a really good way to get from resort to resort during this time, because otherwise we'd have been looking at boating back to Magic Kingdom and then getting on the bus to Coronado. To spend $10 to $15. I think is well worth it. Got back to the resort at a wonderful time still. I mean, at this point, it was like probably 3:30, 4 o'clock at the latest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we knew we could just spend Christmas evening relaxing and hanging out at the resort. We were a bit full, so, we still got a little bit of food, but this all of a sudden sparked more games, and we would end up with like a family game night.
Yeah.
What is the new game that somehow we had never played that Piper taught us? I don't know how I've never played this before.
Yeah, I don't either, but she was like, y'all need to play, and she called it Bologna Sandwich.
Yes.
And I was like, what's that? And she said, well, you get a deck of cards and you pass them all out to their end. And then the person who has the ace of spades starts. And then you put that down, and then you do 2, 3, the next person. And if you have 2 2s, you can put 2 2s down. But if you have 0 and you have a 3, you put it down and you say you have a 2. And then if I'm like bologna sandwich, then you have to pick up the whole pile. Mm-hmm. So that was super fun.
We had so much fun playing that.
We did.
Yeah. And then Piper would come back around and she's like, who's winning? Like, how's it going? Oh, Jeremy, you got a lot of cards there. Like, and I mean, I'm sure people are going, well, I know this by another name. And you do, but we were at a family establishment. So Piper was very nice to say, this one's called Bologna Sandwich. We had the best time just hanging out.
Because then we played Clue games. Again. So we played Clue some more.
Yep. And we had the absolute, and what was so cool is Aaron came by later because we got to see Aaron. He was there Christmas Day. Yep. So it was so wonderful to see him and spend some time with him. But so this deck of cards that they have, every card was hand drawn. Mm-hmm. And he was like, this is like a rare, expensive deck of cards you guys are playing with. And we're like, that's super cool. Like it was just really neat. And we just had the absolute best time. I ended up meeting, you guys went downstairs and I met Kelly, who, and I don't think I have to tell you this, she was a teacher for years. And a couple years ago, I can't remember where she said she was from. She just said to her husband, she was like, I'm done. I want to move to Orlando and work for Disney. And he was like, okay, let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
And that's what they did.
Wow.
And I was like, that is so cool.
That is. That's
so
really cool.
we closed out Christmas. Did this feel like Christmas Day to you? I know we kind of talked about that earlier. Did this feel like Christmas?
I guess. I mean, it didn't just feel like a regular day at Disney, I guess, because of everything and everything we did. So yeah, I mean, I guess it did. It was still weird not being home and being with our pups, but
I miss the dogs.
It still was good. I mean, it was great. I'm not sad. I would do it again, basically.
Okay, that was going to be my question.
Like Thanksgiving, when we camped with your parents that one time, I'm like, I don't ever want to do that again.
Would you do Fort Wilderness? No, I'm not saying a tent, but would you do Fort Wilderness for Thanksgiving again?
Absolutely.
I thought that went very well.
Yeah, because we cooked and that. See, and like I said before, like it's about hanging out with family and cooking and doing all that stuff. Whereas we hung out with your family, we just didn't cook. We went to Cracker Barrel, and that was just I hated that.
Yeah, I know. But so again, all right, girls aside, let's just don't worry about what they want to do or not do. Would you do Christmas at Disney again next year?
Absolutely. And I was like thinking, which I think would be fun, is actually doing Fort Wilderness in the cabin, because then you can bring the dogs.
Yeah. That's one we'd have to look at. Obviously a year out, there's no deals going on right now. Nope. And I looked and those cabins are $600-700 a night. Mm-hmm. So we may have to look at that, but we really almost have to make a decision in the next week before we renew our APs, because we have to decide, are we going to stay within Credit Pass with no blockouts? Are we going to be there for Christmas? Would we maybe do another holiday or blockout? Do we bump down to Sorcerers, which means we couldn't do Christmas? So something we got to kind of figure out. The girls seem like they would do it again, and I think they were surprisingly happy and really loved it a lot more than I think they thought they would.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And for me, if we had gone anywhere that wasn't our house this year, it was going to take a little for it to feel like Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, if you'd gone to my parents, or let's just say your parents' cabin was done and we decided to go there, we still would have woke up and been like, we're not home, which we've done for a decade. Does this feel like Christmas?
Yeah.
For me, this was one of my most memorable Christmases ever. And, you know, we've had some incredible Christmases here at the house, but a lot of them start to blend together. This one is so specific. I can remember because we were at Disney. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, this was one of my favorite trips ever.
Oh,
we got back Monday and I spent the whole day and I was just like, that was amazing. Yeah. That was perfection. Like everything. And we didn't follow a to-do list, even though we got to do some things we wanted to do.
The only thing I missed doing, because it was so cold, is fireworks and watching them together, either at Epcot or
that
at Magic.
Nice,
that would have been. But I mean, it's fine. And when we did close out Hollywood, they didn't want to see Fantasmic. They wanted to go and do the ride. So which again is fine.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been so cold, we probably would have closed down another night.
For sure. I think so. And seen some fireworks and all. Yeah. Maybe that's the only thing I would change, but I really went back and racked my brain. Like, what would I do different?
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't.
Yep.
You know, as far as everything that was in our control, I'll say, because the weather was not in our control.
Right.
And even some of the rides we missed, you know, would have loved to have done Flight of Passage with them or Rise of Resistance, but not at one point did we, you know, we talked to them on the way home. I was like, what was your favorite part? What was your favorite part and all? And not once were they just like, I really wish we had done Rise of Resistance. They had nothing negative to say about it. I highly recommend, if you have an opportunity, to go to Disney for Christmas, you know, and we'll see what we do. Maybe we get in a rotation. Maybe we're home next year and then we go away again the year after. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to make that decision, but I would do it. I would make this a new tradition every year for sure.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Thank you and the girls for allowing me to do this, because I know you guys probably would have chose to stay home potentially, but I've been wanting to do this forever and it was perfect.
Yep.
It was absolutely perfect. Anything else you want to add? I think we covered everything pretty well. We had breakfast Monday morning. We headed home. Oh, yeah. They did have like a frittata that was really good.
Yeah, the last morning we went up and sat and ate, which they did have like a quiche basically.
Yeah,
like
that's what I was going to say, like a frittata or a quiche.
Okay.
It didn't have a crust. I think a quiche would have a crust.
Okay.
So I think a frittata does not. And it was all cooked in that one giant pan. It was really good. It was really good.
And then they had bacon again.
Yep.
And it was good. And then we went ahead and had to head out because I did have to work Monday. And then
now we're back to reality. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, guys.
Everyone.
Everybody has a prosperous and enjoyable.
What did we eat for New Year's Day last year? Because I broke the tradition. I'm back at it this year where we're doing our Southern pork, greens, black-eyed peas, cornbread. We'd done it for years. And after 2020, I was just like, this didn't work. And then last year we took off, but I don't remember what we did last year.
I don't remember either. I guess we'll see it on
that'll pop up on Facebook.
Soon.
But I'll be cooking all that. And we will have next week coming out. We'll do our normal 2022 year in review. And then we'll do an episode on what we're looking forward to in 2023. So look out for those. And if you hit subscribe, you get those episodes every Tuesday and Friday. You can check out wonderlandcrew.com for our Patreon group. And of course, both Rhonda and myself, even the girls, would be super thankful if you could leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.